morning, or should I say good afternoon? No, I think good morning. So we're going to do a session. I'm going to do that together with John. I'm Bart from LiveU, and this is John from Vizrt. We're going to do a session about a project that we did together. It's called the ELF, and it's a really cool cloud project. And maybe we start with a video.
Let's go get it done.
For the final whistle. There it is.
So, yes, we do have American football in Europe. It's called the European League of Football. It's a young league established in 2021, and since 2021 it has grown massively. So in the 2021 season there were only 8 teams and 40 games covered, and less than 100k attendees at the stadiums. And if you then look back to last season, 2023, it's grown huge. So we now have 17 teams. Last year they played 100 games, so that's more than double. And also the attendance at the stadium is 500k. And on top of that, they also have 500k viewers. So that kind of grew massively, and since last year we did the cloud production for that. So, what was the challenge for the 2023 season? In the past seasons, they were produced on site, and not all the content was live. A lot of pre-recorded content. So the thing that they wanted to do is to create more live content. As we mentioned before, ELF, they have grown really rapidly, and in order to make that growth sustainable, they wanted to do some big changes, and big changes in the sense that because they wanted to produce more games, up to 100 games in 9 countries, they wanted to reduce the carbon footprint and also the production costs. They also wanted to add more immersive graphics in order to get more sponsors involved and get them more visibility. And what was the solution for that? That's cloud production.
The solution would be in cloud, and ELF wanted to move their production so they had less production costs on-prem, reducing their carbon footprint at all the venues. They were able to isolate all their productions into one single facility. Being that the games were only on Saturdays and Sundays, they were able to utilize cloud to build a cloud workflow, use it when they needed it, and shut it off, reducing those costs. Part of the cloud and the flexibility, and one of the biggest challenges for them was they were going from completely taped, non-live production, posting it, and moving to a completely live. They saw a subscriber upgrade or uptick in their Game Pass, but also just the viewership, their impressions online, their engagement with their fans, all because of this new interaction with a live audience.
So, in this cloud setup, there are actually 2 pillars. So, the first pillar is the on-site part, and the on-site part is done by LiveU. Normally you would have a truck and an OB truck and an SNG truck going on site. For this setup, we actually gave the production teams 2 LU800 encoders. Those encoders they can take up to 4 signals, so the 7 camera signals were encoded on site. On top of that, they were also connected to a fixed internet line, but we have also provided data for all those encoders. Then these signals, they were all encoded via LRT, which is our own protocol. It's actually our bloodline. It's LiveU Reliable Transport, and send it to cloud channels directly and converted those to NDI. And if you have a look at how that looked on site, and you can see that the footprint is rather small compared to having a truck and an SNG truck on site. So this was a setup on site from LiveU part.
So once the signals came up to cloud, the 10,000-foot view of this is our signals are up in AWS. They're now available to us to take as live sources, and we have various different software tools to do those things inside of Vizrt using VizNow. Operators then, with the benefit of cloud, can be at home in a facility and dispersed across the different countries across Europe for the different teams, and then distribution sent where it needs to be in local markets. So what does cloud look like? And this diagram is meant to look like it's very confusing, but at the core of it, we're still making television the same way. But now, instead of the servers being on-prem, our machines are up in the cloud, and that allows us to reach and build things in a much quicker, scalable way. Can you go to the next one? The ELF was able to take one control room that took them only a few days to build, and then they replicated that 5 more times to create multiple control rooms. This would have taken on-prem weeks, months, possibly a full year to do on-prem, but with the power of cloud, we were able to replicate those control rooms instantly. What VizNow does is takes all of our different software tools, if it's LiveU, if it's our partners at Compromato, our production switcher vector, replay solution 3Play, and we take that software and we automatically deploy it using scripting, taking the confusion or the cloud, how do I want to say this? Taking the experience that people have on-prem, but automating it to allow you to replicate this software and these workflows in cloud automatically. VizNow can deliver all of this with one click. It takes 15 minutes to just deploy, and then you're up and running with your signals coming into your cloud and building your content. What VizNow does also is does all the back-end work. Instead of going on into the AWS console, we're taking care of your security groups, user profiles, and user access to allow your users to access these tools when they need it, turn them on, turn them off very easily. This is an example in Munich at Novell Media. They took a simple empty room with a few monitors, a couple simple computers, and turned this into a control room to produce 8 games a day for the season. Another benefit of this is allowed them to scale to deliver multiple outputs to all the various regions using Logic and Spalk to deliver different languages and in different feeds, both in horizontal, vertical, social media feeds.
So obviously there's quite a lot of benefits to this cloud production. So one of the first key benefits is, of course, the cost savings. So as you can see, 1 million cost savings, that's quite impressive. That's actually huge to have those cost savings on a 4-month season, because it's only 4 months. How did they actually got to that number. Of course, obviously the fact that there's limited crew on site. Limited crew on site means less flights, of course, less travel, and of course less accommodation. So that's the first point. Second point is, even though it's a cloud production and it can be done from anywhere, collaborative. This one was done, as you saw in the pictures, it was done remotely from a centralized hub in Munich. All the people working there, they were locals. So also there's of course a huge cost saving. As mentioned before, there's no OB truck on site, there's no SNG on site. So also there, to get the trucks there, to get the people in the trucks there, that's of course also quite a cost. And on top of that, your SNG, besides the fact that it needs to come there, you also need to have satellite time, you need to have a SNG operator, so all these things add together that there's a huge cost saving. The next one, besides the production cost, is of course the sustainability aspect. So there was a huge carbon saving of 300 tons of CO2, which is again quite huge in 4 months. There again, no transport or less transport, and also the reduced travel, less flights. And of course, and that's something that we might forget, is there's no in-house technology stack that runs 24/7. So you actually spin it up when you need it, so there's no 24/7 power and cooling needed. So
Another benefit is the time savings. And this, Novell and the rest of the crew realized that all that travel between crews on site, operators going to and from site, now those things were reduced. They were able to collaborate even between games because crews were right next to each other. So what worked maybe on the first game with one crew and to a second crew, they saw a massive amount of time saved there, but also the travel time for the operators. And then the last part is the resource savings. So instead of spreading out operators all over these different countries, the same crews were able to work together all the time on each of the games and allowed for the collaboration between the producers, the directors, and the consistency of the broadcast to become much, much higher quality.
yeah, so I think this is a presentation. If you have any questions, please shout out or reach out to John or myself. I will be here, John will be at Vizrt, and we're doing this presentation again at the Vizrt booth. So, thank you.
Thank you, guys.